I had a few people ask me to do a ride on the new Street Rod. So this is a 2018 Street Rod. I'm gonna do a better little ride on it because my other one was really short. So a few things that I like about the Street Rod is the inverted forks that Harley's been doing a lot lately. I love them. They're great. They make for really great handling and stability. Also, I like the travel of the shocks in the rear, how tall they are. They give you a lot of comfort and travel and bumps and things like that. So as far as comfort, this bike does really well. But I'll go over more of that while I'm riding. We'll go ahead and hop on it. I have ridden this bike a few times when it came out. Really no changes between 17 and 18. Pretty peppy though. We're in a nice upright cafe racer type position. Even though I do feel like I'm leaning forward a little bit, which scares people into thinking that they wouldn't be able to handle a long ride or the bike would be uncomfortable. I'm actually, there really isn't that much pressure on my hands, so that's not bad at all. The controls, the mid controls are nice and high off the ground, so you can hit corners really hard on this bike. But I kind of feel like if they would have done rears, that you could have been a little more comfortable. That's like one of the things I don't like about it, is I feel like they should have put rear controls on it. But you know, Harley-Davidson has never done that before, and for some reason I feel like they're afraid to commit to rear controls. But the mids aren't bad. You're still not in a horrible position. Like I said, you're not really leaning on your hands too much, so it's pretty comfortable. As far as the ride is fantastic. It's nice and fluid. The suspension does its job. Like I mentioned, there's a ton of travel in the rear. The front forks are inverted, so it pretty much soaks up every bump in the road. The clutch is a little different than most Harley. I feel like it engages in a different spot. The friction zone isn't quite as long. It has kind of a long throw, but once you get used to it, that won't create any kind of issue for you. You know, every bike is different. It is pretty flat around here, but I'm going to try to hit some little small turns that I can and kind of give you some idea on handling. She is peppy though. Alright. I'm going to hit this little curve up here. Is really light, so it's really easy to throw around, which is nice and fun. Definitely gives you that cafe racer feel, which I like. And I really like how tall the bike is, like how far I feel like I'm off the ground. Like if you look, you can see that my feet are really high off the ground. So it gives you that comfort to really be able to lean into turns without worrying about scraping your foot pegs or your feet. I worry about that on my Sportster sometimes. I have my foot hanging off like this when I'm turning. I always worry about like my toe getting caught in the road or something. Yeah, you can definitely lean her over. It is a really fun bike though. Actually, when they first came out, I rode one for a second, and it almost kind of made me want to buy it, because it, like I said, you can tell there isn't much weight on my hands. Like, I am sitting on my butt, so that's nice. You can sit up and actually have like a comfortable ride if you have like back problems or anything like that, or you can put your hands down and kind of really get into it if you want to. So I do like that about it. It does have dual disc front brakes, so I mean you can really make it stop if you need to, quickly and efficiently. But one of my complaints about this model though is I don't like how the bars are 7/8. I wish they were an inch. I wish that you would have a lot more options on which aftermarket route you wanted to go with. If you wanted to change the bars, if you wanted to do some straight bars or some Clubman bars, you'd have more options if the bars were an inch. That's really my only complaint with this bike. My only real niche is I feel like they should have gone with 1-inch bars. And the controls themselves, you know, your blinkers are right here, kind of like a metric bike. I feel like Harley could have actually stuck the blinkers on both sides. But, you know, for the price, this is a fantastic motorcycle, and it's a ton of fun, and it's got a lot of power. You know, a lot of guys, not the Street Rod in particular, but I've seen a couple guys, you know, take the Street 500 and Street 750 and strip them down and make like little flat track bikes out of them, and they're really, really cool. I feel like this bike has a ton of aftermarket potential of what you could do, and for the price point, things like dual disc front brakes you just don't see very often. Guys, actually, the longer I ride it, the more I kind of find the mids to be a little nice. So like I said earlier, I feel like, and I'm not saying the rears would be bad, but it's actually not a bad position at all. It's gotten more comfortable as I've been riding it. The power is good. It's surprising. Like I said, it brakes really well. For the price point, this is fantastic. I like how big the tank is. Just want to let you guys know there is a little bit of a bend in my knee. So it's a tall bike, but I'm 6 foot and I have a bend. So if you're like 5'8", you'd be fine. 5'9", you'd be all right on this bike. So it is tall. It's taller when you get off of it. When you sit down on it, the shocks are really great. So, and it slouches a little bit when you sit on it. The pipe, you can kind of feel the heat from the pipe a little bit though. On the trip. Oh look, you got gear RPM, so if you want to know what gear you're in or how many RPMs you're at, you can view that easily right there on. Like I said, it is fun, it does handle well, it's light. Your gas mileage is going to be fantastic on this bike. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. I think this bike is it's a real winner. I mean, if you want to save some cash and get a nice clean Harley-Davidson. And, you know, this bike has potential. You know, ever since the release of the Street Rod, you know, a lot of aftermarket companies have been coming out with more and more stuff, like full exhausts and stuff for this bike, so you can hop her up a little bit. You know, Harley's going to be releasing more motor stuff for this bike as well. The brakes are really nice though. We've got to stress how nice the brakes are. They're really fluid, but you can tell exactly where you are. The first time I've actually taken it on a ride. You know, every other time it's been around the parking lot or down the road, but it's actually, I could ride this. I could ride this for miles and be fine. I'm kind of shocked just how comfortable it is. And it's really well balanced. I want to show you guys how well balanced it is. Harley-Davidson does really well in balancing. You can ride at really slow speeds and she just wants to stand right up. I'll show you guys. Really, really balanced. Very balanced. And she'll take turns. Alright guys, I'm going to bring her back on the showroom floor where she belongs. Alright guys, see you later.